Hello and welcome to Matt's Garage. Today I'm going to be changing the alternator on this 2006 Mercedes ML350. So I've got a brand new Bosch alternator here, and this is not going to be fun in the snow, but that's what's happening. Looks pretty easy, so we'll get the hood popped here and I'll show you the process start to finish. Just the orange lever under the dash here. Secondary catch right there. So the alternator's located right here. Pretty simple. We got to get the belt off. We'll take this engine cover off just to get it out of the way because it's easy. It's a little cold out here, but still those clips come off pretty easy. It's just got those clips there, and then it's got a couple clips there, and it should have two of these, but one of mine are missing. But they just go right there, pretty easy, and those other ones go in right there, so you might have to lube those up with a little silicone spray or some Vaseline once in a while just to keep this cover sliding on and off easily. Before we go disconnecting those power connections on the alternator, they're going to be live right now because there's a battery in it, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect the power. And battery is located under the front seat here, so I've already gone ahead and moved that up to gain access. So here's our battery, and you have to disconnect the negative terminal, so it's just a 10mm there on the clamp, and just get the negative off, and that'll depower the vehicle. Now what I would recommend doing, I'm going to go around and actually close my driver's door. But you can see this vehicle has a lot of lights in here, and they will all actually go out on their own if you just leave the vehicle for like 5 minutes and you don't move any of the doors. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave the rear door open here because we need it to access that, and that way everything will be depowered. I already shut down the whole dash and everything last time I had it running. I shut off the climate control, all that stuff, so everything is depowered so that when we disconnect that, it's not like a big jolt to the system. There we go, they turned out. So now we're good to go. We can disconnect the battery and we won't have any kind of jolt or anything because the lights are disconnected. That may be a little OCD, but I like to play it safe when it comes to all these fancy electronics. So make sure you don't close the door again after that happens until after the battery is disconnected. Otherwise it will reactivate the system and all the lights will come on and you'll have to wait all over again. Okay guys, I'm just disconnecting the negative here. 10mm like I said. Give it a little twist to loosen it up on there. Just pull it straight up off. I'm doing all this as preventative maintenance. Actually, my alternator had not failed, but my vehicle has just over 100,000 miles on it, 168,000 kilometers to be exact, and that's often around the time that they fail. And often it's just a voltage regulator, which is actually, you can see it from right here, it's just on the back there, just a little black plug, and you can buy that as a separate part, but I just wasn't able to find it. From only place I could find it is eBay, and it was like 3-4 weeks away for me, so that didn't work out. I just went with a brand new alternator. Now before we get too progressed with this alternator replacement, I just want to make sure you guys are aware that you'll need one of these e-torque sockets to remove the bolts on the alternator. Not everybody has a set of these, so I figured I'd mention that up front here. Okay, so here is the drive belt, commonly referred to as a fan belt or a serpentine belt. Either way, it's all held in place by the spring-loaded tensioner right here, and right under the belt there is a 17mm hex, and you just you'd pull left on that, counterclockwise on that, and it will loosen it right off. So I'm just going to demonstrate. I've just got a 17mm on my big 1/2-inch ratchet, so I have lots of leverage, and If you're doing this on an ML500 with the V8, it might be a little tight, but on the V6 model here, we've got a ton of room to work. So basically you're going to want to push down on it, and then somewhere like this you want to just flip the belt off, or you can flip it off the tensioner, whatever you choose. So I'm just going to get my other hand on the back side here ready to pull the belt off, and see, you can just see it loosens off nicely there. Pull it off and just release the tension again. Now one thing you might want to do is just take a picture of your belt routing with your phone or whatever before you remove the belt. So now we can move on to our alternator here, and of course we want to get the wiring disconnected first. You can see it's pretty simple because the ground wire is held on by one of the bolts that holds on the alternator. So really all we have to do is come back here. Okay, you guys, I'm just disconnecting the power plug from the regulator here, and it's got a little tab here on the bottom edge, and you just depress it. Actually, it looks like you should pull it out. I thought that at first, but actually you just depress it with your thumb and pull straight down on the plug. Might have to wiggle it a little. There we go. It's just real cold here, but if I can get it off in this cold weather that easily, I'm sure you're not going to have any problems with it. I believe that's it for electrical plugs. And then there's just a main power wire down here on the back of it here, and it's got a cover over it. Okay guys, you see this little black round piece here? That should just pull off, I believe, but I'm going to have to use some pliers on it because it's real cold out here and it's fighting me. Now one thing you could do is remove this plastic intake pipe here, and it would just give you a little better access down here, but it's not something you need to do, and I find these a bit of a pain to get off, especially in the cold, so I'm going to just leave it there. I'm actually going to climb under the vehicle and just get at that from the bottom side because there's a little better access. So there we go. You can see it's just a cap on there, and it's actually looking like a 13mm nut. So I'm probably going to attack it from down here. Hopefully you guys can see from up there what I'm working on. There is that cover. It just clips on there, but because it's really cold out, it's like -7 Celsius right now, so that didn't want to come off with just my bare hands. I had to twist it off with a pair of pliers. So I'm just going to use my little 1/4" ratchet and a 13mm shallow socket like that. There we go, and then that just lifts right off of there. So now the hard part is pretty much done. Okay guys, we're ready to unbolt the actual alternator, and it's a E12 socket. These are E-Torx, and there's 2 bolts like this on the bottom as well, so I'm actually going to slide underneath and start with those 2 because you always leave the easy ones for last, or at least I do. And looks like that just clips onto there. There's a clip there, so get that too. So I don't know if you can see me here, but if you just crawl down under the front here, you actually have great access just right here. There we go, there's the first one out. So there we go, both bottom ones are removed now. Just make sure you get these E-Torx all the way seated in so you don't strip them. And this one, the ground strap is just fighting me a little, but I got it on there. Broke it loose. And then just leave the last one tight here on the front corner till you get this one completely out, because there's a lot of threads here and it will start to bind up if you loosen both of them. So I'll take the socket and put back on there and use it to loosen it. Okay, so that bolt is right loose. Annoyingly, it doesn't quite come out of there, so we'll have to just get the alternator off here. So we'll just get that front one there. That's the only thing holding it on now, and we've got all our wire connections off and unclipped, so we're all good. There, you can see the alternator starting to move, so you'll have to be ready to catch it as this last bolt comes out. Of course, there's quite a bit of thread there, as you can see, so okay, it's probably almost out, so I'll just hold the weight of it and thread this out with my fingers now. There we go. It is free, just make sure you don't bump anything, and you'll have to get that ground strap off of there. It's under this bolt head, so get that bolt out. You can get that other bolt out now, and then just make sure you don't snag any wires, and make sure you don't bang anything as you pull it up out of here. Okay guys, I'm going to finish this job tomorrow because we're working on dark here and it's getting cold. That's your positive connection on the back. That's your voltage regulator that I'm talking about, and I'll actually do a separate video on this, and I'll remove the part and just inspect it and reinstall it and show you what to look for and show you how to change it in case you want to get a replacement unit and change it. Well, okay guys, I'm ready to put the new alternator in. I just finished cleaning up the connections that go to it, both the ground strap there and then the big positive connection that goes in the back. I scrubbed them all clean, put dielectric grease on them, and I also went around and cleaned up all the other ground points and electrical connections under the hood. I think that's a very important part of your electrical system maintenance on a vehicle this age. So now I'm just going to be putting that new alternator in. And you know, it's just the reverse of taking it out, so I'm not really going to film that. I'm just going to throw it up there. It's just the 4 bolts. I'll leave some torque specs as a caption, and yeah, just put the electrical connectors back on, and don't over torque them or anything, and then I just got to put the drive belt back on, so I will show you that. And then I got to power up the vehicle again and do a relearn on it, so I'll have a separate video on the relearn. It's pretty simple, but I just think it would make a good independent video. So, okay guys, we're just going to unbox our new alternator. I already opened this previously just to check for damages, but we just want to double confirm that it's exact replacement for what we have here. So, number 1, check your electrical plug. That looks the same. And then of course where it mounts up, so that looks the same. And then it's got the big positive stud on the back, and it's got the correct pulley, so it looks like the right alternator, and this should be a direct replacement. Bosch's, I believe this will be a Bosch unit as well. That's what Mercedes uses. See right there, this is the same alternator. This is a Bosch also. So this is a brand new alternator. It's not a remanufactured one. I think it was worth buying a new one. This was $305 Canadian. It'd be a bit cheaper if you're in the US. So here we go. You can see the shiny new Bosch alternators in place, and it was real easy to put in there. The only small hiccup I had was make sure you have your wires routed properly. And it was actually that tiny little wire back there on the voltage regulator that messed me up, because it was just under the bracket there, and it's kind of hard to see down there as you reach down there. I would recommend taking this pipe out if you can, but in sub-zero temperatures it's really hard to get that plastic to come apart, and I didn't want to break that, so that's why I worked with it there. Otherwise everything fit like a glove. And I'm just going to pop on the belt here now, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to also be posting a separate video just on replacing the belt, where I'll talk a bit more about maintenance on the front of the engine here and stuff. But for this video I'm just going to quickly put it on and show you that. So if you want the detailed video, go find that, or I'll link it in the description. So I'm just going to go ahead and reference back to the picture I took. There doesn't actually seem to be one anywhere under the hood, a diagram, so make sure you take a picture, because it is kind of a complex routing and you could sit here for a while trying to figure it out otherwise. So I normally start down on the crank pulley with a setup like this and just kind of work up around. And for now we're going to go over top of the tensioner. Normally it pulls back under this tensioner, so down around the AC pulley there too, and I guess it goes up around the power steering. Is that right? I'm just going to check my phone quick here, and I believe it goes Huh. Even with the picture I'm having troubles here. Yeah, no, it goes straight across the top. I'm just making it more complicated. Okay, right there. Okay, straight across the top from the power steering. And then, okay, so it goes down around the alternator. And then up around this pulley. I came off my crank pulley down here. Gotta come back around my crank pulley. Okay, I think I got it, and then this just loops over the tensioner here. So again, the tensioner is 17mm, and I just found a setup like this on my 1/2" ratchet. It's nice to have a lot of leverage when you're doing these. Get this on there, and then just get your hand down in position. I'm just going to release the tensioner and try and get it slipped over. There we go. It can be a little troublesome at first because there's a lip on this pulley. That's why you want to get it started down here first. And now just before you get that totally released, like it's not on my air conditioning pulley proper, so get that on proper. Just check all your pulleys. So there we go. Now that we have our belt back in place, we're ready to go power up the vehicle again. So here we go. We'll just slip this engine cover back into place, and I just get it started in the back, and I kind of line up the stripe there, and then just bring it down and push the other clips in. There you go. That's all there is to changing the alternator on your ML350. It's going to be very similar on the ML500s. So thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage. I hope you found the video helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.